Hi, this is Shreya Pattar, and in today's video, I would like to talk to you about the importance of visualization and the major mistakes that we make when it comes to visualization. There are many stories in this video, but I would like to start off with the story of me getting my driver's license in UAE. Or you know what I could say? I got my driver's license last month. If you don't know yet, getting a driver's license in Dubai is a pretty big deal because the test is intense and you have multiple tests and multiple exams that you have to go through in order to get your license. For me, it took 5 months, including a couple of weeks off due to travel. But yeah, it's a tedious and long process and it's a lot of hard work. So yes, big achievement. Now, the reason I'm sharing this story with you first is because getting my driver's license is what made me understand the importance of visualization. Up until then, I had heard of the term visualization a lot. I never really focused too much on it, but when I directly applied it towards getting my driver's license and towards preparing for my driving test, that's when I understood that this is powerful stuff. So how did I come across visualization for my driving license learning process? So I was talking to one of my friends about the driving test and I was just, sharing that it's been a while. I was on a trip now for 2 weeks. It's been a while since I've sat in a car and I really don't know how I'd be able to do this because it's overwhelming to think of giving a test first of all. And with the examiner right there, it can get pretty nerve-wracking. And I was like, I don't think it's happening this time. I think I'll just, have to do more classes and stuff like that. And then in this entire process, my friend who had just got his driver's license in Dublin, he told me a very simple thing. He said, why don't you do this? Why don't you open Google Maps, open the street view, go and pick the location which is for your driving class, and then just watch, zoom in and go through the whole route that you normally take when you're in the class. So whatever is the route that you follow for your driving practice, just go through all of that and visualize yourself driving the car. And I thought that was interesting. I had never done that kind of visualization before. I was thinking in my head that, okay, once I sit in the car, I'm gonna put my seatbelt, check all the mirrors and check the AC and whatever. And I thought about all of those things, but I didn't really think of this. So it was pretty surprising for me and I tried it out anyway. When I was going through the route that I normally take, I realized that there were so many small details that I had missed while driving because I was so focused on driving that I could pay attention to now because I was looking at the map. Points where I thought I would have to merge into the highway weren't the points where I had to do any merging. It was just a point where I had to keep going straight. And then also I got a better overview of the speed limits just because I was looking through the map and the speed limits are also mentioned there. So all of these small things really helped me, and guess what? I cleared my driving test after this whole process. So I think at that point, my entire knowledge of visualization just turned into wisdom, and it just turned into this light bulb moment, hey, this works and I should do this more often. So while I was thinking about that, I realized that, well, actually there's a pattern and I have been following the process of visualization for quite longer than I thought I did. But there are some mistakes that I made along the way during this process that now, after understanding how it really works for me, that I can avoid. These are the mistakes that I can avoid. So let's start off with the mistakes that we make in the process of visualization. Mistake number 1 is that we visualize the end goal instead of visualizing the entire process. So for a lot of us, let's say in terms of business, we think about the end goal of revenue. We think about how much money do we want to make. Let's say we want to make $10,000 a month. So that's an end goal that we have. And we think of ourselves in that position where, hey, you know what? It would feel so good to have achieved that $10,000 a month. But the problem with this is that there is no visualization of the process. So when you actually start working towards that $10,000 a month, suddenly you realize that, hey, it's a lot of hard work. And you know what? I guess I didn't want that $10,000 feeling bad enough and I'm just gonna walk out of it. So when you imagine only your end goal, it creates a sort of attachment only to the success and not to the process. So instead of thinking of achievement, think of all the steps you need to take to achieve that goal. And this unknowingly is what I did in August. So August 2022 was one of my highest revenue months as a self-employed person. At that time, that was the 1 month where I stopped thinking about everything else. I stopped thinking about my revenue goals and things like that. I focused only on, okay, how many clients do I need to close this month so that I can get closer to my revenue goal. And to close that many clients, what steps do I need to take? What sort of lead generation do I need to do? How many calls do I need to book? How many calls do I need to get on? Who is my qualified prospect? All of that, I mapped that out so well. And I had a process in mind that, okay, these are the steps I'm going to take to hit the highest revenue month. And I did. So my goal wasn't just to imagine that, okay, how would it feel to earn XYZ that month? But it was the entire process of, okay, these are the action points that I need to take so that I can make that success, that achievement, a reality. Now, the second mistake that we make when it comes to visualization is visualizing too many things. If you look at this example that I shared of August 2022 being my highest revenue month ever, then I think the next question comes up, why couldn't I repeat that same thing in September 22 as well? And that's because a lot of new goals popped up during that month in September, and I just started shifting focus. So although revenue is still good and business is still doing well, at the same time there are some other goals that popped up and they took over the space from trying to hit another, highest revenue month or record breaking month again. And I think at that point one of the goals came up that I would like to learn how to do a chin up. So my goal was to learn how to do a chin up before the 15th of October. I did it. But of course, when you have so many different goals, your focus kind of pulls away from your main goal. So that's a mistake. Like, if you want something really, really bad, you should visualize one thing only and make sure that you are obsessed with it. Which brings me to mistake number 3. Not being obsessed enough with your goals. I think visualization is one of those things that if you want them to come alive, then you have to give it your all. You have to be so obsessed with this goal that you've set and with acting on it towards this, process that you have in mind. You have to be super obsessed. So I can take the same example here of hitting my highest revenue month. In August, every single day when I woke up, my only goal was just create content, get on calls, respond to prospects, send pitches, get all of that stuff moving. Like, that was my main goal. Every single day, that's the only thing I was thinking of. I was doing other things as well. I was managing life, as you can call it. But the one thing that I was so obsessed with day and night was just keeping things moving. So I think that's another mistake that we make, that if we are not obsessing over our goals enough, then we are just not in that mind space to make things happen. So obsess over your goals and visualize more obsessively is what I would say. Now, mistake number 4 when it comes to visualization is not factoring in this thing called life. I think so many of us overlook life in our day-to-day decision making. Like, we have a plan, okay, this is my to-do list, this is what I'm going to do. But you know what? Life has its own plans and it's going to throw something at you in the moment that you least expected it. Now, that could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but I don't think it affects us as much if it's a good thing, but if it's a bad thing, it does. So the story here would be that towards the last three or 4 days of August, I got food poisoning and I was unwell. Like, I couldn't move for 1 day. And again, the recovery took longer because I was in a lot of pain for a couple of days, and just, being at home alone and just trying to just feel better, it was hard. And it felt really weird because I had a few calls in those couple of days that I had to push ahead, and that affected the revenue for August, obviously. So, just falling sick, I guess the revenue would have been higher. I'm not complaining, but of course the revenue would have been higher if I was just not unwell those days. But beating myself up over it makes no sense because, life happens, and if you fall sick, you fall sick. You can do your best to keep yourself safe and healthy and all of that. And I do that on a daily basis, but when certain things happen, they happen. You have to learn to move around it rather than try to make that your entire focus point and change your goals or beat yourself up over it. With that said, I think visualization is a really powerful tool. And if you start visualizing the process of achieving your goal, if you start being obsessed with it, if you start giving yourself some sort of leeway, because life happens and that's okay. And if you focus on one thing rather than visualizing too many things at once, I think you will find yourself doing much more than you thought you were capable of. And that's only because you set your mind to something, you saw yourself through it, and you acted as per it, because nothing's gonna happen if you just keep, sitting and thinking about it. You have to take action. So yeah, that's all for today. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you try out the importance of visualization and make sure you leave these mistakes behind if you have been making them so far. And if you like this video, please like, share, and comment, and hit the subscribe button, and then hit the bell icon so you can get notified every time I put up a video on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helps.